Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me share my experience with all of you. And it's really it's a privilege to be part of this and contribute to the conversation and elevate this conversation to a level where the community, the individual, and the institution participate in creating a new food system. So it's a big word, and this is the topic, and I do believe, especially from my Baha'i upbringing, inspired by a lot of the Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, and new manifestation for mankind at this age. So this is literally, I been participating in the financial industry where shuffling a lot of papers and creating nothing but getting rewarded in a big way. So, which seems to be so much discrepancy and in relationship to our society and who is contributing the most for our community and why we are not compensating these endeavors such as farming, nursing, and many other profession that COVID really was the silver lining and shedding the light on. So, which is for me, it was a game changer to see how we can start what we call like a social transformation, or even I'm using the term from the Baha'i teachings is the releasing the society building power in our community. So creating a new food system, it is, I noticed when I started in 2007, 2008, growing my first seed of spinach in the ground, and I was amazed what the earth can give me, and tasted this food, and I took it to a farmer's market in Senneville, which is just to give you a location, we are on the island of Montreal, which is the west side of it, and it's a small town here, Senneville, and we are like one of the last farmers left on the island. And Senneville, it's a small town that have a farmers market and the community meet. And when I put on the table the spinach, it disappeared in a few seconds. So I couldn't believe the change that is happening. How do we eat our food in our community? And I had no idea. And I really hated food before when I was a kid. So I didn't eat. To tell my mother now that Ramzy is growing food, it's she would say you're a liar. So it's an amazing transformation personally, and I looked at right away at the hard work that we do, and there's no compensation, and nobody wants to pay for it, and it's really very hard to make a living being a farmer. So I took it a little bit as a personal thing to find some kind of method and fine tune the world of agriculture and how can we do small farming and at the same time we can get compensated. So this is why I'm putting the equitable for farmers, because farmers it becomes like if they grow our food every day, why not compensate them? If they an engineer builds you a house, an architect, like in a lifetime, but we compensate them differently. So there is some kind of a disequilibrium between compensation of farmers and farmers' work. So that's why the word equitable is very crucial to create a food system that can pay the farmer properly for the amazing and noble profession that is he or she performing in our society. And the second part is like we're going to talk about it has to be ecological and respecting the environment. And the whole thing, as well, because the platform of agricultural platform that we create in our society, who are the protagonists to play the role and participate in advancing this agriculture platform or like the basis where we meet as as a humanity, as a society, as a community, as a neighbor, as a neighborhood. So what it will be the role of the individual, the community, and institution. So this is in a nutshell my presentation. And to share with you my experience of the last 15, 16 years that I embarked on it in 2007, and now we involved. We can share at the closing like where we are in implementing such a project. There's obviously the agenda will be the current challenges, the role of the individual. We can talk about it in details, and I'm gonna move the screen here. Yeah, at the beginning I skipped the role. I mean, like the conceptual framework that we can actually guide us is very important. So we're gonna talk a little bit about essential principles from the Baha'i faith, and we go to the community and the institution. So I mean my inspiration a bit is the Baha'i faith, but at the same time there's so many other uh, ideas that we discovered and unlocked in our community that really helped in creating the framework that guide us in establishing such a project. So for me, unity and justice and environmental stewardship for me is like was my guiding principle in conducting such a project. So so like if we walk in the path, you know, like into creating a vibrant farming community, the children and community and our institution, local institution, municipality participate. Really, we have to be united. So Baha'u'llah, the Prophet Muhammad, the Baha'i faith, it really want to put the emphasis on the role of unity by quoting this one from Baha'u'llah, so powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. And this is the time as well, like we can see the discrepancy of extreme rich and extreme poverty, and like how do we conduct our social affair and social transformation if we don't implement justice? So especially how situation in the world, I don't want to go into details, but we know how we are at the darkest hour before the dawn of where humanity has descended. So Baha'u'llah emphasizes this by this quote, which I will share. The best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom, if thou desirest me, and neglect it not, that I may confide in thee. So I've been participating into the ABS agricultural working groups and studied like a few documents, and one of them is really I recommend it strongly is the working toward one planet and one habitation from the Baha'i international community. And I found this quote really summarizes the big picture and what Baha'is and their friends and so many other like-hearted people who are working on the same objective. And the quotation goes like this: Baha'i efforts toward environmental sustainability are grounded in the conviction that humanity is organic with the natural world, that the human heart cannot be separated from the environment around it. For Baha'is, advancing a materially and spiritually flourishing civilization in harmony with the natural world is central to the human sense of meaning and purpose. I find this one is really frame the whole project that, like it's not business as usual anymore. I notice it like, like we have to maximize profit, we have to report the shareholders every 3 months. But the bottom line is really the soil. And the bottom line is really like, how can we conduct ourselves on this planet which grows our food, and do it in harmony with with our like creating some kind of human sense and meaning and purpose and prosperity for our community or our neighborhood. So I am not. I mean, I'm aware of so many. I'm aware of so many initiatives happening in the world, and really, my farm is located beside McGill University here, and it's the agriculture department of McGill, and they have agriculture, like I mean, students who interns at our farm. And the last 15 years, we had like a stream of young people who came in and participated in explaining the significance of learning how to uh, conduct business, but at the same time, if you want to make money, but you cannot uh, punish and be damaging the environment. You cannot damage the soil. You cannot damage the air that we breathe. So it's a big challenge for mankind. Somebody has to pay that cost, and the cost is significant, and that's why it's really has been a big challenge for us. And we can survey the globe, and there's young people. I can assure you, I can see them every year in, year out. They're making a difference. It's a new generation. It's highly educated and extremely sensitive to not damaging the planet, and they want to make a difference. So the Jardins Carya has been actually new blood coming into it all the time and try to redefine what we do by the participation of the young people in this project. So the word carya, I just want to mention, it's a Latin word, and it's Desjardins mean gardens, and carya it's a it's a genus word for hickory, like, and there's so many types of hickory trees. And the West Island here, like before the development happened, is mainly like nice hickory that used to grow here, and it's a plant and it's a tree and it's really connected to the soil. So we took it as a main like as a symbol, and at the same time in Arabic it means village or community. So it's like the community using the soil and the tree, like we can give her that dimension. And the other thing is, like, I've noticed is like the House of Justice has been mentioning this one lately, is the like how beautiful it is when we start ourselves taking our own development in our community and our neighborhood by ourselves instead of having a system from on top. So the community is participation and taking their responsibility of development by their own hand is the new feature, like a grassroots that is happening globally now, and we can see it in so many countries, like especially Kenya uh, and many other countries in Africa, and there's a wind of change that can we sit down in my community and my neighborhood, and I can make a change with all members, and everybody has a voice to participate. But there's a challenges, and the challenges for us, it was like it's really huge, but we're gonna try to explain it a bit, and see what the problems are. This one. Okay. So current challenges in the environment, impact of conventional agriculture is one of the biggest damage that is happening to a lot of fertile soil globally. We're losing cultivar, like arable land and soil at an alarming rate because of the use of monoculture and and really a bit of soil. It takes us forever to build it, millions of years, and they contain so many microorganisms that is so essential for the health of human being that walk this earth. So we really in Canada, like in Quebec, where I am, which is a province of Canada, in Quebec, 90% of our agriculture land is we grow three crops on, and only and one of them is like soya, corn, and hay, and most of those crops are grown for animals. And so we are participating into for the last like almost last 25 years in converting those soil, those land to more crop diversity. And that's a big challenge, but it's happening. And the government now is really supporting this movement so we can convert those land that is only using monoculture. Greenhouse gas emission is one of the problem as well. We have like waste in an incredible amount, and there's a lot of initiative that we work on it here with some think tank organization with the city of Montreal to develop program we call zero waste. And water usage is an issue, and the soil degradation. So these are like main one, and it's happening all over the world. But at the same time, like we're trying like to those soil that is owned by the inventory is owned by a lot of people who are like age of 70 and over, and how can we marry them with young people who are not capable of buying them, or that we can we develop some kind of relationship that young people can have access to those land. And it looks to me, and I mean, I've tried it and I looked at it. It's not the technical things that is causing the problem. And I find the quote from James Gustav Speck, founder of the World Resource Institute, who is like a very renowned scientist. And my daughter shared this thought with me, and I find it appropriate. And this is where we can find out what is the real problem. And I can read it. I used to think that the top environmental problem were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that 30 years of good science could address these problems. I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with these, we need a cultural and a spiritual transformation. And we scientists don't know how to do that. And this is really, it's highlight that the problem is, as all of us know, is the spiritual revolution of the spiritual transformation, where the human being need to elevate its perspective and understanding the core of the problem. And there's, I mean, I've noticed there is a reawakening, and a lot of people are putting an emphasis on, like on how to eliminate those selfishness, greed, and apathy. So this is, I mean, I've really, for me, it's like it's so beautiful to work with young people, and they keep coming, and and it's every year it's being renewed, and it's so we have an operation on the farm here that we have about 16 acres of land that we cultivate, 6 greenhouses, and we have a microgreen operation as well, and we grow food like almost like with the microgreen almost 12 months a year. But the outside and the greenhouses, we can grow stuff from end of February, like early March, till almost end of November, maybe the first week of December. So we have a lot of crop that we grow. Like right now, for example, our greenhouses are full of spinach, full of kale and miner's lettuce, which is like cold-loving crops. So that gives us some cash flow at the beginning while we're waiting to go outside. But the challenges for me as a farmer, like I really, this intermediary between the high intensive labor by the farmer is these people who are eating the margins or the profit between the production and the final users. And I can talk a little bit more about it and how do we solve these issues. at the end, when we talk about the food hub and the question of really like the what is the farmer getting paid the just price? What is that price? And who is eating all these margins? And how do we eliminate them? So I can elaborate a little bit more, but that's a big challenge. But we find solution on that. Like like for me, Baha'u'llah said is like a farmer in agriculture is really one of the most noble profession, and somehow like I felt it's the perspective and the way the society looks at farmers is kind of like a beneath them, and like nobody wants to do this work, and we have to ship people from South America or anywhere else in the world to come and harvest our crops, and as if like like I don't want to do this, but nobody wants to do it because it's a low-paying job. So it's a big challenge. So how do we compensate and elevate this profession to become a noble profession? Adequate compensation. And I can like we know the minimum salary, and we know like how difficult it is, and we know what inflation is impacting. It's a big challenge, but we have like we've been raising the hourly rate, constantly, and we're finding like and fine tuning the business model in a way that compensation can go up to $21, $22, or even $25 and $30 an hour, and that's still a challenge for many farms. And the prediction, they say, in the next 10 years, if there's no creative, innovative way of dealing with this challenge of compensating farmers properly, we will be losing an alarming rate of farmers, small farmers and stakeholders, farmers going forward. Government policy, so we are developing a lot of relationship, but that's a big challenge to change the policies at the local and municipal and provincial level. And and again, like we're gonna go for the national farming policies, what is our government can do to help us facing these challenges. So the lesson from Neil maybe told me about it once, like it's the Women Institute have a lot of research has been done, and so many courses, intensive courses have been given, and this quote I found it very relevant here about the significance and the importance of farming in our community. To if you want, like it will be maybe the platform where the society building power can be released. Baha'u'llah described agriculture as a vital importance, as a vital and important matter. That was foremost among the principles, conducive to the advancement of mankind and to the reconstruction of the world, established from Baha'u'llah, revealed after Kitabi Abda. Yet, and this is like now what we have, is yet current agricultural policy, which is really need to change them, and often prioritize yield and profit. And everybody knows like maximization of profit is the most important thing in the life of our society, and then the shareholders can punish you if you don't do it. But at the same time, we're sacrificing the sustainability, social cultural features of rural community. And if we continue on this path, while the poor struggle to even feed themselves, and the climate change makes farming increasingly unpredictable, and we know how much that having an impact. These and other factors threaten food security. So it becomes like, even like now in Montreal here, like we have like 30 division, like 30 geographical area on the island, and each cluster of those geographical area with a lot of population, the government like give funding to from public health to deal with all many issues, like from health and like we're talking about education and so on. But the common difficulty exists in these 30 geographical clusters on the island of Montreal is food security, and they don't know how to solve it. And while the solution that we have is like the government taxes goes to like from us population to them, and they allocate funding uh, to this geographical area, and their food banks. They go and buy food from like processed food from supermarket, and they dump it on the stomach of the most vulnerable, and our money is not used properly. So in 2015 we started an initiative, and we went to each of these geographical area, and we worked on two pilot projects. He said, okay, well, give us the money, give the money to the farmers, and the farmer's job is to get you fresh food twice a week from the farm directly to you. And these are being very successful initiative. And even this money that comes from the government to those geographical clusters, they are helping us even start our season as a farm. So, I mean, I'm inspired about this one, about these three protagonists. Is very important to play a role of success of any project that is going to be, especially that we are working on in our neighborhood with an agriculture platform, because doing this kind of agriculture initiative to grow food for my local community at an affordable price, I find it is very practical to understand what the individual can do. So we were lucky here in the West Island, where I am in Montreal, that the community, there's a major shift that each individual, that even if we're going to give them a bunch of radishes or a bunch of turnips, sometimes, extra like this, they insist in paying for it. And I said, no, it's okay. We had a major crop, like we had a big harvest, abundance. They said, no, we want you. This is the price. They pay it, and they advance the money even in the early season. And so many individuals are making it success because, and I said, it's okay. I said, no, we want you to be here next time. So these individuals played a very important role by supporting local, and they love to, our food is organic, is very important now for many of our segment of our society, where pesticide is really causing a lot of illness, and they want to, they know their food is 75% is made from oil, and they wanted to support organic, that they want all the ingredients and all the microorganism and all the stuff that is healthy for us comes from soil. So it's either soil or oil, and that's what they support, and they support it by paying for it, and they're not questioning the price. And at the same time, we are improving our productivity so we can lower the price as well. And we're finding so many ways in a successful way. So this way we sustain food production, reducing food waste. And at the same time as well, they come and give us a hand on the farm. So a lot of people, with their children, and they come and support, which is really exciting to see the individual play this role. The children is very important. I mean, like we pioneered many programs now with schools, and they bring their children to the farm, and even to the point that some major schools in Montreal, they want to develop what we call a curriculum that is complementary to their academic curriculum for children. They feel like the future leaders of our society, they don't have enough education in terms of the real world. And so they're taking the academic and they are marrying it into what we call an educational program outdoor, but it's not just like taking them for a visit, but they come in and participate in camps. And we had our junior youth as well, like in the Baha'i faith as well. They came in and participated. And there's a connection between education and the next generation, and be part of the like understanding. I mean, the battle is won earlier if we can make sure that the sustainable and continuous education of our children. And we talked about the child when it's in nature, and when they pull in a plant of carrot or they plant a potato. I mean, they're really it's a very empowering and revealing truth for them, that it's not just something that is on a counter in a supermarket, that they have no connection to it. Encouraging others to make informed choices. So there's a lot of initiative happening in the community, and seminars and stuff like this that participate, because we're lucky that we are beside an education institution, like one college and one university about 5 minutes away from the farm, and there's a lot of individual who participated into advocating for equitable and sustainable food policy. So the community becomes by what we call it, or maybe all of it is the CSA program, is the community support agriculture, becoming very globally widespread. A lot of people are participating in it, and they buy a share of the harvest in advance, and they really support the cash flow for the farmer. And one of the most beautiful thing too as well is like I've been participating into a farmers market in Saint-Anne de Bellevue, which is like 5 minutes as well from the farm here, and we take our food to the market, and it's the weekly rhythm of the community to step into a gathering where food, like there's about 30 farmers, all local producers, and there's many different products, like from cheese, meat to honey to maple, and many others. And they bring the children, and there's a music, so it becomes like kind of like a weekly, which is like a routine, but it comes to determine the tempo of the community to get together and meet all the time. And on the right side, you can see the young people who comes in and from university, and they start like participating and planting in early season. This is happening like in the end of March, like maybe early, about almost April 15. We're gonna be starting that soon. So so there's a capacity building and education for youth all the time happening at this level. Community garden, we do seedlings, and people come and participate, and we help them grow their own food. We do workshop on for the community as well, to grow their own microgreens, and food recovery and redistribution is very important. So we don't want to have anything to go to waste. So the community is available even to take the stuff to food banks, and we have developed relationship with food bank at a larger scale in Montreal. So you have almost like 5, 6 to 7 food banks that participate with us, and at the same time as well, the school tour that they bring their children to the community here, and mainly engaging as well with the garderie or kindergartens. It's subsidized by the government here, and the money that goes, they start shifting to buy locally as well. So this one is really, as you see this picture on the right side here, like you have like one of the largest hospital in Montreal is the CHUM, and it's and now is they decided to start buying locally, and these are like almost 50,000 people at this hospital, and there's employees, and it's one of the largest hospital in Montreal. And there's the Institut Cardiologie de Montréal is the other person, and there's advocacy by an organization called Equitable that takes care of connecting institution with farmers. So, and there's another one is called Collective Récolte, which is a think tank on behalf of the city of Montreal, and they are really engaging in introducing and marrying farmers with local institutions in Montreal. But we cannot. I mean, I'm a small farm, so I can't supply 2 million people in Montreal. So this is the challenge: is the scaling. So how do we solve this challenge? And really, the food hub. This is our third year of pilot project, where we created a food hub by the farmers for the farmers. And it's called now that in the game, the name changed to, instead of Plaudi, is Aube, A-U-B-E. You can see the website. I shared it with the invitation that Don has sent to everyone. So this food hub is started in the West Island where my farm is, and we are now radiating into 150 kilometers of farmers around it, and they all participate to bring their food to the hub, and from the food hub we ship it to these big institutions. So it's mainly at this moment is public institution. It is non-profit organization. It's mitigating all the costs that the farmers can incur, such as shipping, sales, and packaging, and marketing. And we only want to leave to the farmer, which is like transforming Carya. But there's about 15 farms now in the food hub, to just have only one cost is the cost of production. So they focus on the production, the farmers, and the food hub, which is called O. Now we start having one truck, and we are increasing almost every year. We're increasing by another truck. So the food hub can take care of the rest, which is really, I am even like personally, I became the salesman now, like to market the production of farmers in the food hub. And these other organizations are introducing us to university cafeteria. They introducing us to major institutions such as hospitals and kindergartens, and again, like the busiest client for the food hub are food bank now, and people are lined up, and there's so much. I mean, there's like before COVID, we used to be like one in 10 in Montreal's residents. They suffered from food insecurity. Now after COVID, like the latest statistic, now we're at 27% of Montrealers are suffering from lack of food, and they go tonight like empty stomach. So their food hubs are becoming very important. What I call is like to service, and they are signing up now with us, and we support the food hub by having the government involvement here, like the city of Montreal involvement. The local and integrated food system in Montreal is an initiative, and there's a file with money every year that goes to the food hub. We like the food hub won the most innovative idea of bringing fresh food to our local community in Montreal, and it's still in the stage of early development, and this is our third year. But I feel like it's a very good initiative. We looked at many food hubs in North America, especially in the United States, and it's a lot of these initiatives are happening, and it's a very interesting solution. And I find like more and more support is gaining momentum from policymakers at the municipal level and policymakers at the provincial level, and at the same time now at the federal level and government, and they want to support this initiative. And we are because for the margin, like I mean, if a farmer wants, let's say, 90 cents or 75 to 90 cents per pound of carrot, you know, like, and it's a distributor comes in and tells the farmer, I want to buy it from you, and I'll pay you 75. The farmer doesn't have time. He sells all his carrot to this distributor. This distributor goes, and he's a larger distributor, so he distributes it to a lower, so another intermediary, so he sells it to them at $1.25. And after that, this distributor goes to the grocery stores and restaurant, and they distribute this thing at $1.90. So at the same time, by the time the consumer ends up paying between $1.75 to $2, where he can pay 90 cents to the farmer directly. So we are interfering now in these margins, and we are saying to like eliminate all these intermediary. The food hub can play the role of paying the farmer $1 a pound, like more, or at least above what he really cost them and make a profit. And then and after that, go directly to those institutions and uh, and make smaller margin because the food hub is non-profit. So the end user end up paying like $1.30. So we are really like eliminating this kind of like the middleman that really caused the system to be completely in favor of big corporations and not the small farmers. So so we have the Communaux Assiette and Equitable. These are advocacy amazing. I mean, I couldn't believe what they're trying. I mean, there's so many good initiatives happening in our society now that they want this thing to work, and at the same time we are collaborating and sharing our new ideas and initiating initiative that can realize this project. And there's still a lot of challenges, but I'm very bullish on humanity using my financial background. The role of institution is maybe this is a chef in a kindergarten. So when you go there to bring the food, the chef is actually she's supporting this and she wants the food. I just called her last week and said I have a fresh spinach, the first spinach of the year, and she said, okay, send me 20 kilo. You know, like I mean, this is the hospital Saint Justine in Montreal, and this is like they're on the right side, and the middle one is one of the largest hospital in Canada in Montreal with the CHUM with like almost like it's a city of 50,000 people and patients and stuff like this. And they tell the patient that these food came from this farm. So the beauty of the system is that this institutional, that we need some kind of regulation, we need some kind of policies. And I can tell you that there is a wind of change to make it successful. So the government is writing to those institutions, allocate some of your budget to buy locally. They're changing the like more flexible about like the packaging and stuff like this. The problem, they said, we cannot go to about 10, 20, 30 farmers at the same time. So why don't we solve that problem by having one invoice to one major institution, and that invoice is paid by the institution to the food hub, and the food hub distribute the money to the farmers. So the shipping, I go to the CHUM, which is one of the largest hospital, and I have one truck and I'm driving because I do the shipping as well. I'm changing now a little bit because we're developing now. We need like 2 more young people strong to ship this thing. So they receive one, like I mean, like about 20 different crops from maybe 10 farmers on one invoice. And this is really very, they like it a lot. And we created a digital platform now so they can go on the platform and they can buy their orders and they can see the farmers all the time, but they have one bill. So municipality are definitely positive now, and a lot of researchers, I mean, in innovation, like I mean, in our agriculture working group, and somebody just shared the latest development. There's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of research, and there's a lot of major funding and government incentive are coming to this one. They want to make it successful, but they're asking the food hub to become a professional entity that is really ship on time. They can produce, they can package like a format that is acceptable to the market. and and this is really, as I notice, is diversity is the more we have diversity in the system of this initiative, is the greater the impact on our society. So this is the closing, but I'm really inspired by the cluster reflection meeting that we do every quarter at the Baha'i globally and all our clusters. So I think it's happening the same thing. We can apply it on now social economic development that we do. For me, is like this farming thing, and agriculture. So you need the conceptual framework, like that guide us. and unity is very crucial. You know, like open to other ideas, and like there's so many different, so rich our society with beautiful ideas, and so we have to embody this kind of conceptual framework, and every time we deliberate on and consult on our challenges and issues that we are facing on a daily basis, the interconnectedness here it plays. We can see it how the community or the sum, you know, more valuable than the each part, and it manifests itself beautifully by individual initiative, by the community, by the institution participation, and it's not, we admit we don't know how to do it. We want to learn how to do it, and but we are determined to do it. And our children, what planet we want to leave them, so we reflect. We see the personal role, responsibility, and adjust ourselves up and apply it, and keep repeating that cycle, you know, and for a more equitable and ecological food system. So, in the latest reflection that we have, and I close with this, is the the financial system, you know, like for especially like for farmers, you know, like or small businesses. It's been a big challenge to sustain those businesses, you know, and then I find so one of the idea that I'm contemplating a lot, but reflecting, and we brought it to a lot of farmers, is the challenges of cash flow and financing and supporting project for small farmers. And so I did like 25 years in finance. I did 15, 17 years in farming. I'm still now to develop the food hub because we're transitioning all the farmers into the food hub, and Carya is becoming like a pure play and production only, and let the food hub take care of the sales and marketing. But for the financial side, like we create funding, you know, like, and I'm inspired by decentralized finance and the idea of providing funding for farmers, and what is this innovative way of having access to capital, which is now is about 10%. That's very expensive, and how do we do this one? So I think, you know, that the reflection now is financing small. So I might like to spend more time. Personally, I am very interested in the idea of providing microfinancing for farmers and creating some kind of like a fund that is almost banking for farmers, but in a decentralized way, away from this extreme riches, and the way like the more money you have the lower rates, and you don't have any money, I'll charge you 15% and 20%. So we want to level the field, and if anybody have any idea, this is the early stage of thinking in our community here. How do we support those farmers on financially by creating a new idea as well to complete the whole system? And thank you. If you have any question, we can take it from here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If you could stop sharing, then we
Okay.
can all see each other, and people can raise their hands, and that's great. Great. So let me change the view here. Gallery view. Okay, great. So we have some questions. There were a couple of questions in the chat already. Maybe we could do those first, and we may have covered some of this. Let's see. Oh, you did talk a little bit about government, but Roy Steiner asked, how is the government of Quebec helping with crop diversification?
The agricultural working group.
Okay. So well, I mean, it's
questions, so probably they call.
Okay, go ahead. I think someone was unmuted there.
okay. So I can answer. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so The crop diversification is, like there's the Quebec government or the Ministry of Agriculture. It's now more and more proactive in listening to small farmers, and they, especially after COVID, it became more essential for the government to make sure that we're successful and we can we have our food grown. So there's like I mean the accessible to land, for example, like it's like they list an inventory of land now that they've been acquiring, and removing it from speculation. Like we have an area in Lebanon, we have an area here in the West Island, and there's so many agricultural land that has been they would like, a lot of speculators, they want to buy them and they want to develop on them. Like my land here is 30 acres on the island, and it's always been I bought it from speculators a long time ago, and like in 1996, and it's really one of the last farming area. Beside me, there's another 100 hectares of land, like on the island that is being protected, and now the government has put in funding that we can put it into production, and we've been producing on it for the last 4 or 5 years. A huge amount of food coming out of it, and this is a support from the city of Montreal. There is a lot of, they list this lands and they say, okay, we have like any young farmers that they can make work on the land. I feel like it's there's another organization we have. It's called CAPE, and I shared it. I don't know if you guys received the invitation, but it's CAPE. This is a co-op of farmers in Quebec, and we became like we have muscles now. We produce a lot of food, and we are like almost like not lobbying, but it's like kind of influence the policy of the government, so to support us, and they really have like a young farmers across Quebec, and it's and we are kind of like having access to land that is available sometimes, from people that they don't have the capacity of developing those lands. And there's a subsidy that comes in every time you want to prep a land, like if it's you want to do the labor and stuff, like they give you subsidies. And at the same time, like they're supporting the greenhouse because you can have about an acre and a half to 2 acre small farm. You can produce about $100,000 to $125,000, like a couple working on the farm. They have to put a greenhouse. They have to put like just to make it working. So there is a subsidy now coming from the government to help, like almost 50% of the greenhouse can be subsidized if you do start your own farm. There's another one. It's Young Farmers Establishment Grant. It's a $50,000. It's not a loan. Where like when I started my farm, I found I have the land, but I got my partner who was a graduate from McGill. He's a young farmer, and he became a partner with me on the farm, and he was entitled because he has to be under 40 years old. He's graduate from university in agriculture and environmental science, so he's automatically entitled of $50,000 grant, but he has to own at least 20% of the shares of the business. So, and he can make a living. So there's so many. I mean, like the list is huge of what we can do. So definitely there's a lot of change.
Great, thank you. It's just I just have to say it's just astonishing all the things that you're involved in. Just you wear so many hats. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I love it. It gives me really it's the passion about this.
Yes.
And I'm a little bit concerned about that. Personally, like why not the farmer getting paid? So I took it personally. So I want to make sure the farmer get paid. So but we have to fine tune the business model, and with this is a reflection again how to do this, And literally, I can tell you that the world is, like what Baha'u'llah said, is like, I can see it, how it's rolling down the old fourth order, and is a new one is being rolled instead. And it's like, I can see it, that, I mean, 100 years passed, like we had this kind of reflection, but there is like, and then, I mean, we have to be prepared. The next 10 years, it's not going to be what we are doing now. So it's literally the world is being, so we have to be there personally. And I find it is exciting to be part of this changes in mankind.
Yeah, it's wonderful. There was one more question here, and then we'll get to people. If you don't want to raise your hand. Let's see. Where is your Roya?
Yes.
Where's your market in Montreal?
The farmers market?
Yes, you said my daughter is living in Old Montreal.
Okay. It's in the west side. She lives in downtown in the old port, but my market is in the Saint Anne, the Bellevue, and you can take the bus from downtown and you can get to it. It's by the water. It's one of the most important farmers market on the island of Montreal. That she can go. It doesn't have to come to my farm, but she can. But if she can call me, I mean, she can write us an email or on the website. You can have access to me. But there's so many small farms, farmers market on the island as well. And near her, there's one about like maybe about 15 minutes.
What is it called in near here? I'm not very familiar with Montreal, but I know that she lives in Old Montreal.
Yeah, Laurier Farmers Market.
Laurier.
Yeah, Laurier. It's by the metro, and there's
the metro. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and there's another one in Jean Talon Farmers Market. It's really, you can go there. There's so many farmers bring their food, and our co-op as well is participating. But me, I am more into the Sanan, and now I'm shifting to wholesale. Like it's my passion now to bring food. Like I keep my farmers market in Sanan, but I want to like make sure that we can supply big institution. So this is the next step, and I'm focused more on wholesale by farmers to the institution directly through the new food hub that we created 3 years ago. It's called OLD. And really, if you can look at your invitation when they send it, I have all the website.
What is your email?
Yeah, we're gonna put it in the chat. I can put it in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. So, Winnie, did you have a thought or a question?
Well, mine was about governance as well. I'm coming to the conclusion that if we don't have the goodwill of our government and good policies there, everything else we do can be shot down. So I was interested in how you got the trust of the people that are working with you, because, and also another question, how do you sustain this? Do you have people who know what you are doing that can come after you and keep it going? Because it is certainly a way to assist the local farmers, and I'm very admire it.
Yeah, it's really the development of capacities in our community. At Jardins Carya, we are 4 of us, and 4 key staff as well, and they really want to make a difference in our community. So that we're getting people who want to make a difference. If you come in here just to get a salary and stuff like this, it's not. So it's really like I know so many people that at the farm and came through the farm working at the OLD now. So OLD is AUBE, Paul Nourricier, like it's a food hub that bring large quantity of food to our major institution in Montreal. And those guys are making sure a food hub, because it's nonprofit, doesn't become a bureaucratic like red tape and got in this thing. So we are directly involved. So like I am the one who works the sales for the farm at Carya. Now I'm shifting from Carya to the food hub. So we'll bring in and we're hiring people who we train the next. And the other thing is like the one who does the packaging for us at Carya now, it became the head packager at the food hub. So the board of the food hub, you know, like it's people who have capacity, who have connection with funding and stuff like this. So they're all professional things. I can really, like, if you want to dissect it, this one, it will be maybe a nice to have one session, or like maybe connect with me and I can give more details about the food hunt. Because I believe this is where we're heading, and it has to be like Cisco food, you know, like you're talking about those major things. But is it going to be possibly to do this food distribution? And Neil is more, he can tell us about the challenges in this one than anybody else. But I feel like in the next 10, 20 years, you know, like we really need to do that systematically, where these food distribution done by the farmers for the farmers, and it has to be professionally. Like, and I come from a business where you have to ship on time. If they want it at 10 o'clock, you have to give it to them at 10 o'clock. If they want the price competition as well, like with the market, how do we enhance productivity and stuff like this? So there's a lot of challenges, but the trust is earned by the new changes happening in our society right now. They've given up on the old world. You know, like it's really, they want to see a new initiative. But for me, there's so many goodwill people already doing things, but can we sit down on the table all together and have this conversation and push it forward day in, day out, and really getting the young people, especially the youngest one, like the 7 years old to the 15 years old, participate into the conversation and be aware at an early age about what we're doing. So it's a generational, but it's still early. But I'm a farmer. When I put the seed in the ground, I know that mankind will prevail. So like the fruit is at the end. Even if I don't see the tree, I've been taught and trained by Baha'u'llah that is, I have to trust the process that is going to go forward. But if it's in unity and justice and the participation of everybody on our community.
Great. Thank you. Neil? McMillan?
So I've been studying, we live in the same ecosystem as Ramzy's farm. It's called the Champlain Sea region, and it comprises Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec, Northern New York State, and Northern Vermont. And there, for example, there's another financier who worked for JP Morgan and that other one, Morgan Stanley. And he has quit too. And he has bought a 75-acre incubator farm in Eastern Ontario, not far from us. And he is using that to train marginalized people how to become farmers. Also near Ramzy, there's a farm called La Ferme Coopérative Tournesol, which
Yes.
is 5 McDonald campus graduates, and they are growing organic seeds, and they have a similar operation. We also have Jean-Martin Fortier, who pioneered the market gardening, making $100,000, as Ramzy said, out of 2 acres. And he wrote the Bible. It's called The Market Gardener. And a big, very wealthy Quebec businessman called Desmarais from Power Corp, he bought another training farm called the Four Seasons Farm, La Ferme à 4 Saisons. And they are training, again, this younger generation. What is also happening here in Ontario is, as Ramzy indicated, the young people are moving back to the land. And so there's a definite movement in this part of the world. And also on the farmers market type of things, Montreal during the Depression was a pioneer in actually the city building actually indoor farmers markets. So Jean Talon, and there's one other big one in Montreal.
It's a Bioloco.
Yeah.
Bioloco, the other one.
Okay, thank you. So Quebec, as Ramzy mentioned, of all the Canadian governments, provincial governments, Quebec is the most progressive when it comes to supporting this shift in agriculture towards young people, towards more ecological agriculture. So that's just a sort of perspective. So I don't want to speak too much, but so I have a big web domain called Food Valley, based on Food Valley in Holland around Wageningen University. We've got to have production, but also education and demonstration farms. So when I visited Ferme Tournesol last week, I could see it wasn't a farm that would take visitors. But I think what I'm hearing, I'm very, very inspired by what Ramzy has said. And I know that our board member, Ravin Apadou, has visited you there. So I'm just very excited to see this, what we call in anthropology, independent flourishing of the culture in different spaces.
Yeah, Tournesol, when I started farming, when I went to the farmer's market in Senneville, it was Tournesol. Tournesol is a model, for me. Like, I learned these young graduates from Concordia University, and they got their $50,000 each. They had a capital of $250,000, and they started Tournesol. And the rest is history. And now my son works there as well. So, and it's really a very inspiring group, and they're really one of the early pioneers of farming. And I thank you for mentioning that. And Jean Martin is really a major contributor to the farming in Montreal here, and even like he have courses. And the Desmarais hired him, which is like deep money, because they hired him to start Quatre Temps, or 4 seasons. And it's really it's in the Marché Jean Talon, and you can see their stuff there if you want. Anyway, there's a lot of initiative happening, and for sure. And I added in the invitation that Don sent, the name of Jean Martin and the book that he wrote, so you can read it. And the last thing is like I find like it's for me, like the agriculture project, any social economical project that we do, it is the really I do fireside at my place, and I have 99% of the participants are friends of the thing. They come to the farm here. So social economic development, or in North America, and I find like there's a lot of initiatives of doing farming, but there's so many other ideas. But the idea here is like the themes. The community is organizing the subjects for monthly fireside, Baha'i monthly fireside at the farm, and the topic is agriculture. They bring their own speaker, and everybody participates. So it becomes really like where the community meet. It's very attractive to have a farm, and it's like now it's becoming like something that people wants to be part of it. And at the same time, you give them ownership and let them develop, do our own development. So for me, I find like the 4 themes of art, health, climate change, environment, and agriculture. So the community now, they start like picking up their speakers, and they come and consult with each other. And it's a safe place where we can develop ideas and come up with the solution for our. So that's the 2 things is very exciting.
Nice, very nice. Bo?
Thank you. Am I unmuted?
You're good.
Well, I just I am so inspired by this presentation and how the Baha'i principles are being applied for system change in changing our food, our production and distribution systems. And I think the business model is intriguing, to say the least. I'm wondering, because it sounds like as you eliminate the middlemen more and more, that the farmers are doing better within your system than not. Could you address that?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm a farmer and I know the challenges, and every time I do production and let's say, I mean, I'm compared to Alex Flores, which is my business partner, like he's married, young graduate from university, 3 kids. Okay. And we know the inflation, all these things. So how difficult it is to get to survive and farm at the same time. So if you do farming, I don't know, it's a heavy labor. So it's almost like 7 days a week. And it's really challenging for us to monetize this labor and translate it into something, what we call it, a just compensation for a noble work. So how do we solve this problem? Is like we have to really assist the farmer in eliminating what costs money and add to the production, and they end up like almost losing money and they cannot make a living. So sales is very expensive. Marketing, very expensive. Packaging, very expensive and requires labor. Shipping on time, So those, what I call parasite, or what we, I mean, they prey on these strong, like noble profession, like growing my food to my local community at an affordable price. So we have to really address that issue. So we need to mitigate this cost. And the only way I find it personally, so I ship myself at Carya. I work in packaging. I talk to my clients and I take their orders. I enter my orders. There's a lot of work. So maybe I'm getting paid $3 an hour for the hours so there's, so like, I mean, I told Alex, okay, you do the production, I do the sales, but at this moment now we know that there's a big cost to produce. So we really need to have the society and the community and the individual participate in eliminating that cost for us. And it's not business as usual in the old world, financial. I call it like, I mean, maybe I have an image at this moment and I dream about it. It's April 8th. The sun will be stopped for almost 1 minute, like no darkness. And I'm hoping after that 1 minute, a new sun will shine on mankind. Like so it's really, I don't believe, like I'm sure the Effendi and all this thing, I don't believe in helping a disintegrating system that is already accelerating on the downside and is cancerous and is not able to repair it. So I find like maybe we should look at it not only in outside the box, in a new box. So the new box for me is like something we didn't attempt before. Baha'u'llah didn't tell us how to do it. I mean, I'm seeing the decentralized finances happening and like how to democratize finance and have it accessible to everybody. And there's so many ideas that are floating. There's a new system. I need to have an assisted auxiliary institution that support this kind of work for our community, because the yield is not my shareholders report to maximize the return. My yield is like what Abdul Bahar mentioned to me, is like, what is that social good? Like how do we determine that social good? I really don't know, but I mean, but it's maybe experimenting. But I found an institution like the Aube, which is mean dawn in the in French, AUBE. It's these institutions by the farmers themselves who created it for the farmers, where the motivation of that auxiliary institution to support farmers is not motivation, is money. Like we don't have to make 60% on the dollar. You know, we can make 20% on the dollar. We sell $1 million, let's say, for the farmers, and the OP can charge the end user 20 to 30%. So they can make $300,000 for budget operation and buy stuff. And the farmers, we don't want, I mean, we want to participate, but maybe pay 5% or 10% to the to OP. So we are in the, like on April 4, we have a meeting to try to refine the system. Like we don't know yet, like how the OAB can play a role where it could be operational, professional, maybe the first 10 years supported by the government and by some foundation, and and have it become an autonomous. They ask us, they have to, the OAB or the food hub need to generate cash for their operation. So this is really how we are trying. And then I feel like, because we know there's so many farmers have so many good things, you know, like it's so much product, but they can't bring it to market on time. And it's a perishable good. And some wise person told me once, you know, don't leave your perishable good in the hands of inexperienced salesmen. So we really need to have professional salespeople, but their motivation is working for a food hub who's not to make money, but at the same time, you have to be professional. So that balance is very difficult. But we'll keep you posted. We're going to publish. We are really, all this information, all the research, all we have done is issued in reports in French. We can translate it and send it. But it is a public knowledge, and we've documented it for the government. And really now they're looking at it, the government looking at it to see, is it possible? And they published a report in one of the French newspaper here. It's called Terre de Chez Nous. We can share that as well, examining the food hub, and some of them failed, some of them succeeded. And our food hub is being highlighted, and it's a work in progress.
Thank you.
Neil?
There, I'm off mute. Thanks so much, Ramzy. This was actually amazing and very inspiring. I enjoyed it immensely, and I applaud you for you know, everything. You've gone right from production to marketing to a new business plan and helping others and including youth and applying the principles of the faith. And you've done a good job, and the presentation was excellent. Done really well. We have a problem here in Saskatchewan, Alberta, where our farmers cannot transition to organic. They have to go through this 3-year transition phase, where they don't get paid the organic premium, and they get less yield because they're in a transition stage where they don't apply pesticides for the weeds, etc. Does the government of Quebec help out with that transition?
The way we have so many farmers now in the food hub, they might come in and they're not in organic, but we want them to be part of it, right? So, right. Like, I mean, at Carya, we have like almost like a coalition of 10 farmers. And when I go to the farmers market, or I go to a restaurant in Montreal, and I'm selling them vegetables, but I get some from other farmers, right? So the other farmers are sometimes, you know, they're not organic, but I have to, like the law, the government says that you have to, I mean, you can sell it almost at the same price because they're transitioning. So we don't want them to escape this one, but I have to write on the invoice, non-organic. Like that's it. Like the client need to know. So it is not organic. So I feel like it's not, I mean, there's so many good farmers who are produce amazing stuff in Il Perot here, not far, and they only use pesticide, and they are transitioning, and we're encouraging them to transition because it doesn't cost much to transition to to organic, and it's almost like $500 to $700 per year to get the certification. And we don't want people, I mean, like we really don't want to use pesticide, and we encourage the farmer to transition to organic crop rotation and so on. At this moment, there is a union des producteurs, you know, like the union, who is in Quebec, very powerful union. Like they start like helping out a bit in understanding the transition to organic as well. And we did the co-op, the CAPE, the cooperative, the agricole de proximité et écologique. This is the CAPE, which is really I'd like it to. So the union came to this meeting and they're listening to, because we're all, the CAPE is organic production. So we would like to enlarge the, I mean, the food that we're eating is not healthy, right? So it's, I know, but I'm not a fanatic person to say organic only, but there's a room for more people understanding what do we, I mean, do we use chemical in our food or not? I don't know. I mean, I look it up if there's any compensation to. I'm not aware of a particular policy on that.
So, okay, because we have 2 to 3% of our farmers are organic. I have a friend that became organic farmer. I'm an agronomist, but he became an organic farmer in the early 1980s. He did an awful lot of work, talking in a lot of church basements in Saskatchewan and Alberta, talking about the organic industry, and he did quite well. He became a broker, but he kept trying to get everybody that wanted to know about the information. He wanted to talk to them. So he finally sort of burnt out around year 2000. But those of us involved at that time thought by 2020, 2030, the years 2020 and 2030, that Saskatchewan would have about 25% organic farmers. But we only have 2.5%. So it's not going that well. Do you know the percent of organic farmers in Quebec? I heard it's.
I don't know. I never looked at this one, but I'll check it out and I'll write it.
Oh, it's okay. I just
4%.
find that
4%.
it depends on 4.
4% of the food supply is organic right now. So it's still a very small proportion of the food supply is organic.
In Quebec?
No, in Ontario.
In Ontario, yeah.
I do a lot of contract writing, and Minister Bibeau, prior to Minister Macaulay, was giving us a lot of funds for regenerative agriculture, and I was having a heyday with writing and things like that. All of a sudden, the Prime Minister changed the Minister of Agriculture, put Ms. Bobet somewhere else, and put Macaulay back in, and we're just not getting the support that we got under Ms. Bobet. So it also depends on the Minister of Agriculture, I find. So thanks again, Ramzy.
You're welcome. You know, like really, it's the population, the grassroots, the neighborhood that driving. Montreal, for example, is our mayor. You know, she's a big supporter of organic farming. She's a big supporter for climate like policy, and she's like doing eliminating a lot of cars in Montreal. So it's like really the game is won by the education, and they become a political power to vote. You know, like it's like when we vote, and people are like, I mean, if a politician wants to do a government change and stuff like this, and changing policy and encourage a certain mode of organic or electrical vehicle or so on, is the awareness in our community. So like we really need to this is where, like, I mean, we have a mayor that is two consecutive versus a mayor who didn't pay attention to climate
Good.
change, didn't pay attention to this. So I think in Quebec, especially in Montreal, there is a movement like eliminating plastic completely now. She phased it out of our grocery stores and so on. And now she's the one like this mayor really like what we call the West Island here, which is she initiated the revitalization of the agriculture sector in the West Island. So what do you guys need? So she sent, like people like, it's like really, our mayor, her name is Valerie Plante, and she's proactive. And now in the whole West Island here, like in the island of Montreal, there's only 4% of green left, and she stopped it. And now she wants to appropriate more land and farmland and keep it green. Like she wants to go to about 7-8% and stop development and stuff like this. And she's very heavily been buying, like she's launching in 2024 the Grand Parc de l'Ouest de l'Île, which is like become like almost like bigger than Royal Bank. Like I said, really one of the biggest park, which is like support nature conservancy, and we have the agriculture zone as well, and indigenous participation in this park. So it's really, there's some kind of beautiful initiative by the city. And I feel like because the population now is changing with their attitude to it.
Right. Thank you very much. Well, she's been voted in twice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are in agreement with her. So we don't have that here right now in the Canadian prairies, but perhaps someday it will happen.
Young people.
Yeah, the youth. I gave a talk to a university class a couple weeks ago, and they were just so keen. They picked me right up. They were just beautiful. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, folks, I think we've just about run out of time. It's great to see you all today, and thank you so much, Ramzy.
You're welcome.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That you're doing.
Thank you all. And anybody is in Montreal, give me a shout. I'll put in my cell number here, so you can call me. I respond good to text, and I'll give you a tour, and you happen to be here. 514-893-1919. That's my cell. 514-893-1919. A group from Ottawa came last time, and we gave them a tour. So he's in touch, and Jay, I always have a lot to say, but today he was quiet. But he have brilliant ideas about farming as well. I listened to him in other groups.
Yes. Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for the trip. Bye. Allah.
Allah.